Today is the day many of you have been waiting for. I'm finally going to be running the Blockbuster, the B18 that was brought back, and we're setting it up today, and we're going to run some logs through it. We're going to be doing some red oak. The machine was gone for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. Did some updates to it, and it was fine that they took it. Some people were making comments like, man, you've been without it, I'd be complaining. That's not a good thing that you don't have it and all that. But with my move, I had so much stuff to do that I was fine not having it for a while. And they had a lot of orders at the factory, and I would much rather have them get new units to the people that are buying them. That's the most important thing, is keeping the customers happy. And the little bit of time I didn't have it, I was able to do so much other stuff that needed to get done. Moving the logs, going and getting logs that I had given to me from a couple different people, processing some of the stuff that was the smaller runs like my cherry, and processing my hickory, and cleaning the yard up, doing some earthwork, building bins. I had so much to do, it really didn't matter. And the fact that I have so many logs laying there on the concrete, I had, I think, 7 or 8 loads. With the processor, I can, by myself, I can do a half of a semi-load a day, by myself. So that's not a big deal. Here I'm taking an ugly one out because I didn't want to run it through the processor. But yeah, it was not a big deal. I had so much other work to do that I was able to get caught up with a lot of other things, and I've got a lot of other things going on in my life that are more important than wood. We got a lot of things going on with the family that needed attention, so not having a processor was not a big deal, even though some of you thought it was the end of the world. I mean, it wasn't to me at all. So there, that's off the table. Now we're going to be processing some wood. I'm just staging everything, getting it ready to go. I kind of picked out these bigger logs. These are the ones that in general were wet. They either had bark on them, or they were bigger solid logs that I knew on the inside they were going to be wet, and I wanted to get this stuff processed first so that it could get smallerized and put into the bin so it could start drying. Because a lot of this wood, because it's mostly from dead standing oak, it's already 50% dry. And what I mean by 50% dry is that when the bark comes off, it stands dead for several years. A lot of these logs will start to dry from the outside in. The center will have moisture. Now a live green, living red oak or white oak, when you cut it, is in the 40-some percentile for moisture content. This stuff, even in the dead center, if it's wet, is going to be in the mid 30 percentile. It's going to be 35, 36%, because it's been dead for several years. But the outside, maybe 2-3 inches all the way around the tree, the circumference of it, will be dry on the outside. So when you cut it, split it, knock it down to smaller sizes, it actually dries very fast. Now, most green oak, when you cut it and split it, if you leave it in bigger sizes, it can take a year or 2 years easily to dry. But because this stuff is so old and dead, the outside area, the outside ring is basically dry already. Once you knock it down in smaller sizes and get it to where the sun and the wind can do its thing, 6 months it's dry. So that's why I wanted to get this done right away. So basically, this is the stuff that I need for probably the end of winter, maybe next spring. I've got enough other wood that I can sell in the meantime, but I needed to get going with it. I also have a bunch of white oak I want to get going on. All the wood that I have in the Woodyard, as of now, you guys are seeing this. This is a month earlier, a month ago for me. So I've had the processor for a month now, and I've processed a lot of wood. You're going to see over the next 4 weeks 7 huge bins being filled. I've got a lot of wood I processed. Now, a lot of it is going to be the stuff you see way in the background there out in the field. The oversized stuff, the small stuff, a lot of that got hand cut, and I built big bins and we put it out there. But a lot of these logs here are going to be getting processed with the processor. So all around, I'm making a lot of wood. I'm getting ahead. I always say I'm filling my bank account. Just piling up the wood like crazy, and that's what I've been doing. So you're going to get to see the machine run here in just a little bit. Right now I'm just getting it all staged and prepped, getting the logs in place, putting the trailer in place. When I'm by myself, I actually kind of enjoy taking my time processing wood. When you have someone helping you, if you get 2-3 guys there, you tend to go wide open because you try to maximize the production. But by myself, I can kind of take my time, set things up. It's not as stressful for me when I have a lot of people there, because when you got people around, you got to watch everybody's movement and make sure everybody's safe, and you're kind of watching each other and you're trying to move right along. Well, here goes some processing. We're going to take you through it. You can watch this and I'll talk about it a little bit later. So I ran a bunch of logs with the 16-way wedge, and I decided to try the 8-way because I was doing resplits anyway. Some of the stuff was pretty wet on the inside, so I switched out to the 8-way wedge. I didn't show that, but that's what's on here right now, so this is going to be the 8-way. And a lot of this wood I'm taking out in the trailer to the bins, and I'm doing resplits on it, cleaning all the trash out. So this is now the 8-way wedge, which I actually prefer pretty much for all wood. It's my favorite wedge. It splits stuff small enough that makes it easier to handle, and a lot of times it's fine in that size, but I'm splitting a lot of my stuff down smaller anyway, and the 8-way doesn't make it nearly as much trash as the 12-way or the 16-way. So I really like the 8-way the best. If I had to pick just one wedge, that would be it. I also use the 4-way for doing boiler wood, where you just split them into quarters, which is nice too. So my advice to people if they're buying a processor is for sure get the 8-way. And then I would say the 4-way is probably a very important one to have. And then after that, I would say a 16-way. Hope I got a log that was a little, must have tipped on me, and so sometimes the saw will catch there. Sometimes you got to double trigger it. But look at the end of the wood here. I'm cutting this cookie off. See how dry that is, and the outside edge and the center is wet? That's why this stuff dries pretty fast. Like I mentioned earlier, that this wood is already substantially dry. Watch when I flip this around, you'll see the inside edge here. You can see all the dryness there, and then the wetness in the center. And the wetness in the center is a different kind of wetness. I don't know how to describe it. It's more water and not so much like tree sap. So when you do split it down, it dries very fast, which is why this barkless oak, dead standing red oak is generally what this is, sometimes black oak, but it's very dry. Look at the end of this next one coming. You can see how dry it is when it drops in there. There's a whole bunch of dry areas. And some of it once in a while can be a little bit punky. There's some rotten spots, but I usually just toss those to the side or split it off of it later on. But machine's working great. You can see here we're just pounding through the wood, and I processed a trailer load. I think I'd trailer load and a half by myself this day. I got a lot of the bigger stuff done there. So I did one full load and then a half a load. I didn't show all of it. I turned the cameras off. I sometimes like to not have the cameras running and just kind of work and not have to worry about moving cameras and explaining things and editing things. So anyway, there you go. We processed some wood, and it was a good day. I like the access to that splitting chamber. It's so nice being right there. That is just phenomenal. Gotta like it.